scars and the hunger, abundance in bundles, blessings in troubles, towers and tunnels, views and valleys, waves and...
Alright, Stace, you want to tell us about forming a team?
Yeah, so...
What's your understanding and all that?
Okay, so I got into gel ball and I was just an individual, so I went out and played, enjoyed it, and then it was the idea of, getting into a team. I had some ideas and, some people that were interested, but they didn't really, they weren't as motivated to get into it immediately. So I just played myself and met a few people, and obviously a few people in the industry as well. And when Ausgel put out a request for players, I jumped straight on that, and so I was brought into a team that way. But I'm on another team as well that plays sort of bush games and that. And so it's just another bunch of people that I get along with as well, and I think that's what it comes down to. If you get along with people, you can play together and stuff like that, so there's no real bickering. And
actually enjoy the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because from what my time being out on the more bush ball fields, I've noticed a lot of these teams are actually yelling and abusing each other for no reason, while, as Stace was just mentioning, you need to get along with your teammates.
Exactly. Yeah. And we did a weekend camp out with my other squad. It's the Reaper squad, and we camped out at Donnybrook. And I mean, it was a bit of a weekend camping day, and we got to play all weekend as well. We did some night ops and stuff, and had a few drinks and sit around the fire and stuff like that. But there was no issues at all the whole weekend, between the squads. So it was a great kind of bonding sort of mateship thing. But coming back to like forming the team, I think if you just get a few of your mates that are keen on playing, and roll up to a field and just play and let it build. And that's what I've seen. Like a lot of the newer teams that are forming now have done. They've kind of, a few of their mates got together and then they've gone bigger. Some of them have opened up fields as well. So that's another thing. That's the community's growing in a really good way.
Just to add on to what Stacey was just saying, your team doesn't need to be 10, 15 people. Like my first mate I work with, and we thought about starting our own team, and there was two of us. And then I met Dan a couple of weeks later, and then we started forming the Slop-Raiders. So you don't need to have a large team. Slop-Raiders started off with 4 members, and we're now at nearly 20.
Definitely, yeah, one of the largest, teams as well. I know a couple that have got large numbers as well, and it helps to make up team, squad days and event days and stuff. Helps to make up the numbers at the events, as opposed to some of the teams that only have the bare minimum. They may not, get
Which would be good to see fields start doing, is having more. Like Gorilla has their speedball comps. I know Donnybrook has their squad war days where you fight and leave your flag up for the next couple of weeks or month or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'd be good to see if some of the other fields jump on that. I know over in WA you have some fields, maybe you guys should start doing something like that.
Yeah, definitely pushing the whole league thing and the kind of athletic and sort of sports side of it, and even like small time sponsorship as well. Like it doesn't even need to be big. What we've got, we are provided with gels for our games, so it's a good little benefit there. We can just turn up and get our Ausgels for the day, and that's one thing we don't have to worry about. So as long as we get our blasters in order, our batteries charged, just turn up and fill our mags and go. But there's a lot of vendors out there now that could potentially get on board and sponsor a team. So if you can get involved in the league, definitely give it a shot for sure.
Doesn't even need to be a big sponsorship like Stace was saying. It can be as little as giving a couple of guys your company patch. So I know there's a fair few gel blaster distributors out there now, and even make up a couple of patches. I know HawkX makes patches, a couple of other places probably over in China and Taiwan and stuff like that make them. Make up 10 patches and give them to your best customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously if they see a return from that, then they're more than willing to start sponsoring the team then, because they're out there being proactive and promoting that vendor. And it's showing, you know, a positive sort of return for them. So they'll be like, okay, here, you know, they can start giving gels or, you know, upgrades or, you know, anything like that. So just little things.
All right, Stace, you want to tell us about Soft Ops?
Yeah, Soft Ops is they've just kind of appeared on the scene like a little while ago, and they have a page going that sort of, you know, lists all the events going. So you can jump on their Facebook page, Soft Ops, and they'll tell you, you know, where there's events in the area. So especially for us in Southeast Queensland, there's a lot of vendors and a lot of fields going. And they don't always run, obviously, like every weekend like some do, and it'll tell you, you know, what they've got on, when it's on. But yeah, if they're creating an app as well, I hear they're creating an app, so you'll just be able to obviously get on the app and punch in your area, and it'll show you where the fields are around and when they're running and stuff like that. I think it's a great little thing, and the stuff looks really neat. You know, like I've got some qualifications in graphic design, and I've done graphic design before, and looking at their artwork that they've created, it looks really great. You know, it's a really professional look for the sport in general, I think. So yeah, I think props to them for getting on and doing something like that for no real gain. Like, they're not gaining anything from it, they're just doing it to promote the sport. So yeah, it's a good thing. So check that out.
They're weekly updates, aren't they, on those? So yeah, every week you'll know where to go, how much to bring, what sort of game it's going to be, i.e. CQB, Mil Sim.
Yeah, because they do that little checklist as well. So there's a little checklist, checklist. So you can basically look at their checklist, make sure you've got everything before you bail out, and
which I've made the mistake of a couple of times, for getting batteries going out to games and cannibalise go on. Alright, uniforms. Uniforms aren't essential. It can be as simple as going to Big W and buying matching shirts for your team. You don't even need uniforms. Like, when we started playing as a team, the Sloperators, we just wore whatever we had. We just all ran the same way. But obviously the more professional looking teams have uniforms. They all have the same kit, same blaster, but that's not essential. But some of the best places I've been to buy gear and uniforms, Big W obviously, cheap ass pants. GA Tactical on the Gold Coast, for those of you down there.
Yeah. They
sell high quality gear. It is pretty expensive, but you get what you pay for. And then use more central to Brisbane. I tend to go to Max Force Tactical in Enoggera. He's got basically everything you'll ever need gear wise.
And strong stuff, so it's going to last. You're going to be able to rough and tumble. You know, like, I see some of the stuff just fall apart, especially like, you know, if you buy things from eBay, you think, oh yeah, okay, I'm getting cheap stuff, but you have to be careful with it too, so you can't go, you know, crazy in it, because it's just going to rip. Or the other thing too with eBay, like, you don't always get, you know, that, like, you think you're getting something and then it gets delivered, it's not the right thing, it's not the right size. So you basically end up spending more because it's too hard to return something to China, buying it from eBay. So, you know, sometimes you're better off looking at these places that have some quality gear, and you know it's going to last, that's for sure.
Alright, so with your gear and your team, ideally most teams play one sort of game, i.e. speedball, CQB or Mil Sim. Sloperators, we play a bit of everything. So Stace is big on his Mil Sim. Daniel Botten, one of our founding members, he's big on speedball, like stupid big. I like the CQB side of things, but people tend to think you need to spend all the money in the world and have 3 different sets of kit for 3 different types of games. I'm Jewish when it comes to that. I've got $90 chest rig I bought off of Sword. Bought it off a Sword. Mag pouches I got from Donnybrook, and that's it. I use this rig for everything. I'll take this out into the bush, I'll take this to speedball, CQB, everything. Does all the jobs. If you're playing more of a Mil Sim side, people tend to lean towards plate carriers. I recommend against them because you're not actually putting plates in them, and they're heavy, they insulate you. With this guy, the back's open, you breathe a bit, and you don't want to be going down with heat out in the middle of the bush playing Milsim, because sometimes you can't get vehicles there and you don't want to be leaving a gel ball game in that sort of way.
For speedball, I run like a belt. So this isn't my belt. This is one of the
Spots.
Daniel's. And basically just a belt. So I'll have a triple mag like this on this side, and I've got a dump pouch on that side. So it's basically load and dump, and that's about all you need to run out for speedball. Honestly, sometimes, like with the way that the speedball is that we play, you've got enough time to go out, lay down a few rounds and stuff like that. You don't even finish a mag, so when you come back, if we've got a reloader on site, then you just dump your mag, grab a new mag, and go out again. So you don't necessarily need to run anything like that either if you've got sort of enough mags on the side. But something like that, obviously it's not gonna weigh you down or anything, and it's right there on your waist too, so your mags are ready to go, and that's it. Yeah, that's not a bad thing actually. Just I haven't felt one of these, so this is my first time touching one, but it's better than my little battle belt that I got cheap off eBay. But yeah, decent. That's good. I like that. So look at some of these. These are the Speed QB brand, which is obviously the forbidden sport, and but it's not a bad idea to run the Speed QB stuff and push the idea of the sport here, and then potentially like move forward in the future with that. So that's a great little thing to look at.
So a big one is how to keep your team together. We've seen several teams collapse under their own esteem, really, thinking that one person is the team. Ideally, you want a leader or a point of contact, someone who runs all the admin for the team. So between myself, the other two captains, and Dan, we split that up between us, and that makes all of our lives easier. We enjoy the sport a bit more. The only time we really start to get a bit alpha on each other is out on the field when we're actually playing in a tournament. And then that tends to fall down to experience and skill levels. So basically, in summary, don't make your leader a dick. And if your leader starts acting like a dick, pull him in the line. Because if the leader doesn't have a team, what is he leading? With all of our events, so we'll discuss whether we're going to one place or another, bring it up in our group chat, we'll discuss it, and then go, all right, well, let's all go here. So we play as a team, and sometimes people don't get what they want, but that's a part of democracy. It works though, because it's always more fun playing with mates rather than playing with yourself. Right, and now Stace will talk to you newer players or solo players about starting.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, just don't worry about how much gear you've got. You've got a blaster, you've got a mag, if you can get a speed loader or even just a little bottle to put some gels in, just load that mag up on the fly. It's nothing, like, it's not scary or anything like that. Just cruise on out there and jump into a game. Like, basically, if you've never been to a field, what's going to happen is you're going to get out there, they're going to count the numbers, they're going to split the teams depending on what's happening, but basically you're going to have 100 people out there, and they're just going to split it in half. One team's going to get one band, another team's going to get another band, and that's it, and you're all going to go up against each other. So you're going to, even if you're in your squad, you're going to get shot, you're going to have to go back to respawn, you're going to all get split up, and you're going to have to try and meet up again anyway. So basically, the people that you're standing beside at the start of the game, that's your squad. And they will take it, everyone's friendly. My first game I went out, I think I had one mag, a speed loader, and a blaster, and that was it. And I just went out there and just teamed up with whoever was near me. So if there was a few people going this way, I'd go with them, and that's it. And just go for it. Like, don't think you've got to have all the gear and the biggest crew or anything to rock up to a field and play. Just turn up, and everyone's basically in the same boat, really. It's a fairly new sport anyway, and everyone's 90% of the time that there's a lot of new people out there too, so they don't really know what they're doing either, and everyone's just doing the same thing. Just go out and shoot the people. Donnybrook's
a good one for that. The amount of times I've been there and I've seen 8 or 9 people who've just come by themselves or in pairs, and they've all grouped up in the end.
Yeah.
And about the gear, a lot of the people who have all the gear usually have no idea.
Yeah, definitely. Like, don't worry about getting all the gear just to rock up to a game. You may turn out you don't like it. You may turn out you don't need all of that gear. So you just rock up, see what other people have, see what is really necessary, and start to get stuff that suits your style of play. And just the main thing is get out and play the game, like, and then really enjoy it. You know, don't worry about calling your hits. You get hit, call your hit. You know, you only got to run back to respawn. And if people aren't calling their hits, don't let it get to you either. Like, there's, you know, a lot of times they can't feel it, but there's no use just screaming and yelling at each other and causing a big fight, because that's just, you know, sort of aggressive behaviour that the sport doesn't need. Bring it up with the refs or something like that and say, hey, you know, can you make it known, that sort of thing. And they might go, oh, okay, I didn't know, so, you know. And everything goes like silky smooth,
like a rubber. Alright guys, well that's concluding this week's chat with Ausgel Sloperators. Thanks for watching, see you next week.
With you and living kings, I mean it, I mean it. Yasiin and Yasiin in the R.E.D. I mean it, original nation, we pan solid.